Well, another good, beautiful Tuesday morning to you, folks. It's time to take a look at those overnight markets. And each morning we go over to Premier Cooperative and Premier Doug Crop. Good morning, Premier Doug.
Hey, good morning, Gail.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome.
Well, we beat Doug up when the markets are down. So when the markets are up, we haven't had a lot of days, early mornings, that we've had a chance to talk about positive numbers. But I guess basically, Doug, we do have pretty much the overnight, all the overnight, pretty much green on the screen. But it comes back down to crops and crop ratings. And we've been talking about that the markets are going to start watching for that. But it might very well be that maybe it was oversold too.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see green on the screen and positive numbers. Yesterday when the crop ratings came out, we had a little bit of a surprise maybe on the corn ratings. Corn crop down 4% in the good to excellent category from 75 to 71%. So still rated really good as a nation, but some pretty big drops in certain parts of the country, especially in Nebraska was down 12% and Texas down 10%. And a lot of that's due to the dry weather and the warm temperatures that have been seen here recently.
Well, that's true, Doug. In the Western Corn Belt, they wwere a lot better off early as far as planting progress, but now they're in a very critical stage moving in to their later stages of growth, and they're pretty dry. And if they miss some of these rains coming through right now, I would guess that they are going down especially in the dryland areas. Now, irrigated probably be okay, but you take Nebraska and Texas, Nebraska specifically. There's a lot of corn acres in Nebraska. Although Informa came out with some numbers. What do you think about the Informa numbers that came out?
Yeah, I mean, Informa numbers came out with their estimates for planted acres, and they had the corn acres at 94.1 million. Which, if you remember, versus the USDA initial number of 97,
right?
And soybeans at 85.5 versus USDA at 83.5. And I think that's to be expected, and we'll see what the USDA comes out at the end of this month. But with some of the later planting, especially in the northern areas, some prevent plant, and then also some acreage switch from corn to beans, I think is definitely expected. But we'll wait and see what the USDA comes up with, and I think they'll probably have numbers similar.
Well, yeah, and it kind of goes back to that rating system. When you take a look at some key states, Illinois is 63%, Indiana 66% good to excellent, Nebraska is 71%, Texas was 61%, and Kansas was 54%. And you take those key states of growing states, and that's the good to excellent category. Where our crop probably, we got a lot of acres and we got it in at a reasonable time, and most of it is looking pretty good, but that's coming from a very few states, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely issues out there, and I don't think you'd have too many arguments from some of the local growers here in central Illinois as well about some issues out there in the fields. So I think when you look at the Illinois rating at 63%, definitely below the national average, which I guess I can agree with that when I kind of see some of the fields. Although we have a lot of growing season ahead of us and a lot of potential yet.
Well, then trade will obviously be continuing to look to see if China comes in during the biscuit break and continues to purchase these soybeans and maybe even corn, and they're kind of watching with bated breath, if you will, waiting for China's demand to continue to come to the United States because of the value of the dollar versus the Brazilian real and the yen, etc. So we're setting in. It's good to see markets up, but it's bad to see markets up because of crop condition maybe. So we'll just have to take both of the way. But we thank you for green numbers. Let's take a look at those green numbers, Doug.
All right. So we have July corn right now is up 3 cents at 3.32 1/4. New crop December corn is up 3 1/4 cents at 3.44 3/4. Looking at the new crop 21, Dees is up 2 1/4 at 3.74 1/4. Soybeans July are up 3 1/4 at 8.72 1/4. New crop beans November are up 3 1/4 at 8.79 1/4. New crop 21 beans are up 3 3/4 at 8.77 1/2. And the wheat were unchanged here this morning at 504 3/4 on the July, and the December wheat is up 1/4% at 517 3/4.
Doug Kropp with us each morning from Premier Cooperative, looking at the overnight markets and forward to the day trade. And Doug can be reached throughout the corporate trade day hours at 217-355-3369. That's 355-3369. Or for more information about the Premier Cooperative system, you can go to premiercooperative.net. Thank you, Premier Doug, and thanks for the green numbers. You have a great Tuesday, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and you have a great Tuesday as well.